Hello everybody, it is I, Cool, back again, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Yvonne from Cars 2, a very exciting item I'm going to be reviewing. I want to quickly apologize before I start the video. I'm sorry that I uploaded a couple videos before this one today. I was thinking that this guy was going to come in earlier, but unfortunately that didn't happen, so my video schedule was predetermined back in July when I got that huge haul from Cars Ignite 95. So really sorry about that, but I'm hoping that doesn't overshadow this video because Yvonne is a really exciting character for me to own. Originally, back in around 2024 or so, I want to say, I saw this really good lot with Yvonne, as well as the corresponding Mater and some other cars from the casino scene in Cars 2. So Mary Esco car, the other Hugos, or both Hugos actually. Mattel only ever made 2 in the entire diecast line, which is really unfortunate. There's so many more they could make. And then the 2 casino pitties, Marco and Marcelo, they were counted as 2 separate diecast, which, I mean, they are, but they're counted as 1. So technically it was $7, it was 7 cars, but... So I was really hoping to get that lot, but unfortunately it had recently sold out. Fortunately, however, I found someone selling Yvonne by himself for around $30. I believe I made an offer on it to be a little under, so I think I paid $28 for this item in total around my birthday, so I justified the slightly higher price point than I normally would get cars for. Because, of course, I'm going to be ordering cars around the year since kind of an important part of my channel. But here he is. Yvonne is a really strange character. He shows up in Cars 2. And he's just there. His main purpose in the movie is to be the tow truck that Mater disguises himself as in order to infiltrate the Lemon meeting. But nobody talks about Yvonne as a character, and I think that's a shame, because I think he's a really fun spin on... To me, I see him as sort of the Lemon's muscle, if that makes sense. Like, he's supposed to be the tough guy of the group, the one that can actually, show the cars out. Because I know there are Lemon bodyguards, but Yvonne's, just the... I imagine if he was, a person, he'd be, the guy pushing around Victor Hugo in his wheelchair, I guess, because Victor is, old, and, I guess, I don't know how to describe Victor Hugo. The Lemons are a really strange group of characters. They're really interesting. But, yeah, basically, Yvonne's just this really intimidating tow truck, and I think that's really interesting. He's also completely blank, which we don't have a lot of blank tow trucks in the Cars diecast line. I guess we do kind of, because I know there's Toe and Owen, and there's Bubba, who's also blank, and then recently, of course, Chris Raymond. So I guess technically the only blank tow truck, the only non-blank tow trucks are Mater and Race Tow Truck Tom. But Yvonne's a bit of a noticeable character. He was originally planned for 2012, I believe, as a deluxe release or in a 3-pack. I think the 3-pack might have been Yvonne Mater, though. But he was originally canceled, but then he was uncanceled as a part of the Kmart mail-in line, if that makes sense. It was the one where you had to mail in a certain amount of card backs, and they would give you one of 3 items. Yvonne, Muggsy Liftsum, the Lemon forklift, I guess. He's the massive forklift on the oil rig. And Radiator Springs John Lasseter, which is the green pickup truck, which I guess canonically is supposed to be the same as Jeff Gorvet's crew chief. Interestingly, Yvonne would later go on to be part of the Lemons line in 2014, making him the only item from this specific line to get re-released, as Muggsy Liftsum and RS John Lasseter have both remained exclusive, unfortunately. And I'm really glad they did that, because Yvonne is a very important character in Cars 2. He is, again, the Lemons' sort of main threat, like the main muscle, and he's sort of Mater's rival throughout the latter half of the movie. He's this big, intimidating truck. Hence why he was released as a deluxe. I say that, but actually, he and Mater are like the same size, which is, I guess it makes sense, but it's also just really, really unfortunate. Deluxes are $7, or I say were, since they're no longer sold in stores. But the fact that Mater, a single, was being sold at the same time as this guy, and this guy is like really expensive online, is like really a shame when you really consider that Ivan doesn't need to be this way. He didn't need to be a deluxe, but I guess Mattel figured. I think it's because those Kmart exclusive items were all deluxes, so they just kind of grandfathered him into the deluxe line, if that makes sense, because I don't know if they were all like listed as deluxe. Were they labeled as deluxe? I can't remember. I think the Kmart logo replaced the deluxe sort of banner that was on at that time. I think R.S. John Lasseter could have also been a single, because much like Ivan, he's only the size of a regular pickup truck like Dexter Hoover or something. I think Muggsy Liftsum is like the only one that justified being a deluxe, since he is a large forklift that probably couldn't have worked as a single. But I think this was before the form-fitting blister, so that's probably why they figured. Because I think Ivan might be... Well, actually, no, I think Ivan's still like the same width as Mater. In fact, he does look a little skinnier in some places. So that's really interesting. I think I've covered my bases on everything involving this item, so I think I can finally take just a solo look at Ivan here. So, of course, I got this item loose. So he's not in perfect condition. The main noticeable things with him is that he has a mark on the eye, his headlights are a little chipped up, and he has a bit of a chip on the bumper and his mouth where you can see a bit of white. But other than that, Ivan's pretty good condition, all things considered. There is his mustache, very similar to Chick Hicks's mustache. Very fun, very fun. Just a super creative item, or just super creative design. I read a fun fact that Ivan was produced around the 80s. His model was listed as a 1980s Hook It All or something. And I believe that is a reference to in real life in some countries, the cars would be based on vehicles from a couple years ago. So that's why, despite being produced in the 80s, Ivan is able to be perfectly disguised, able to be, played by a 1950s tow truck. Very interesting. All right, my zoom is out. Ivan's expression leaves a little to be desired, but I think it does a good job of looking calm yet kind of intimidating. Like, it looks like he's about to snap, if that makes sense. Over here is his hood. It's got a very nice raised bit to it. I think it's a little too dark blue on the diecast. I think in the movie he's a bit of a brighter shade of blue, but I think it's all right. His accent color is a very brownish red, but I believe it is supposed to be red. He has these really nice looking rims here. I believe these are seen on a couple other diecasts in Cars 2. I want to say Toe and Owen also has these. I have to check if Alfredo also does. Those are two diecasts that were released in the 2014 All in All Blowout series, so they would have come after Ivan here. Fun fact, they actually released Ivan Mater the same year as well, in 2013, in the main line as part of the Maters series, which was a series of different Mater looks from Cars 2. It was to pair alongside a McQueen series that re-released a bunch of Cars 1 McQueens and also gave us Nature Drive McQueen, a canceled diecast from 2010. And Ivan looks so similar to Mater that the seller themselves actually listed him as Mater disguised as Ivan, not even realizing that this isn't Mater. The way to tell, and I really appreciate Mattel for doing this, is that Ivan Mater actually had his own unique expression where he was looking off to the side. And of course, his eyes are green as opposed to Ivan's sort of red eyes here. I really appreciate that level of detail because they could have easily just, cheaped out, but they didn't. Ironically, Ivan Mater has a ton of other, pieces of merch. One in particular I've been really looking to get is the Lego version of Ivan Mater that was released by itself. It's such a strange item to exist because the Cars Lego line is already kind of strange, but the fact that they made Ivan Mater, the fact that they were willing to make so many different versions of Ivan Mater, but not regular Ivan, is just really, really interesting to me. So yeah, here's the back. Yeah, from the back, I don't think... Like, if I showed you this item from the back, I don't think you would realize that this is the regular version. I think you would maybe be able to tell because the cab's a little smaller. Of course, Ivan Mater does use a mold much closer to regular Mater. I really appreciate that, again, that they did go the extra mile to have Ivan Mater be his own unique model that looks more like Mater. Besides just slapping on the buck teeth, they actually went the extra mile to make it more distinct. But yeah, other than that, Ivan is very identical to Mater, which again is the point, but it's just, I don't know, maybe they could have made him a little bigger or something. They could have done a little more to make it different, or at least not make it a deluxe. Anyways, here is the license plate, PN27163. The back half is plastic. It's got the grates there. Oh, let me put them next to each other. I think this would make a cool 3-pack. If only they made regular Alexander Hugo, but they didn't, so. And finally, here is a look at the base. My copy seems to be missing the date stamp, but I'm pretty sure this is the real one. In case you're wondering, there is no factory customs of this item, but there are factory customs of Ivan Mater. I say kind of because they're just the race team Mater model, but repainted in these colors. So, like, it's not exact. And I don't believe there's a factory custom of brand new Mater, like the actual brand new Mater model, which is, again, kind of odd, but it is what it is, I suppose. Ivan's base seems to be very similar to Mater's. Something I did notice is that he actually has a screw in the back, which is interesting. Again, if it weren't for the fact that there were Pixar and Mattel logos, I would think that I maybe got scammed or there's a new bootleg of Ivan out there, but it seems that that's not the case. So, in summary, I think Ivan is a really fun item, just kind of held back by the fact that he's super rare and also just, he shouldn't have been a deluxe to begin with. But I think removed from that context, Ivan's nice. I don't know if I would say he's like the best Cars 2 diecast, but he's one I'm definitely really grateful to own. If I don't get Ivan Mater, I'm content I at least had the regular one, because, again, this one... Regular Ivan is, like, such a rare item and such a, like, notable character. It's really cool that I'm just retreading what I'm saying here. It's just, again, I cannot state how grateful I am that I finally have this thing. Anyways, that's all I have for today. I hope you all enjoyed the review, and I shall see you all around. Let me quickly do a side-by-side comparison of the two. Just to emphasize that, yeah, these two are basically the same. Again, if I get the color changer, definitely want to see how this looks next to Ivan. Color changer, I mean. So yeah. You will be finished at the finish line.